Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about a long overdue subject, how to set up a game in the AVID Assistant / virtual map. We covered this kind of tangentially back in video 6, but today we're going to be focusing on actually setting up a game for reals. So we're going to pick Squadron Strike, but attack vector is extremely similar. And the first thing we have is our choice of player or observer. Now, if we can just observe a game, is go observer, enter in the game ID, test the connection, start observing. But today we're going to go down the player path and create a game. Now, the first thing you have to do is pick the size of map you want to use. The default is the standard map size for all at Astra Games. But if you have especially if you use this in the physical world, you can have a map style such as this, which is the two maps side by side. You can have different size maps. Like this one is what I use in the real world. I have a neoprene mat that is this size. I believe this is ADB map style, not ADB, yeah, Emerald Design Bureau. And you can also do extended versions, which lets you have very, very big maps. But we're focusing on our standard map size right here, the 3236. The 3236 is the hex number in the lower right corner, in case you're wondering where that number came from. It is 32 rows and 36 columns, or other way around, can't remember. Now, next, it's asked you to pick a side of the map. This really doesn't matter. Unless you care about whether or not you want their AVID to be red or blue. That's all it really does. It just sets the initial orientation of the AVID and the color. It's mostly for demo games, so you can safely skip this. Next, you select a game name. Now, this could either be from the drop-down list, which I prefer using, especially in a very noisy game store, because that way, your opponent is not trying to spell something on their phone, misspelling it, and not be able to connect to the game. You say, hey, just go and select a JMS from the drop-down, and there's your game name. But the game name can be anything you want, as long as your opponent can spell it the exact same way. Think of it kind of like a password. You need to be precise and accurate. You just can't go, yeah, my password is something, 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 and hope that it works. Once you select a game name, you go to the next, and then you generate a game ID. Only one player needs to do this, the player creating the game. Once the remote server creates the game ID, it will tell you that you're connected to the AVID Assistant database. So this is the game number you would share with your opponent. You don't really need to test connection. It just makes sure you're connected again. Next is the sync mode. This lets basically determines who's in control of the game as you advance through the turn. One player needs to be lead, everyone else needs to be follow. Manual mode for syncing is mainly used when you're loading a game or saving a game. So you want to select lead. Next is team name. If you have more than one person on a team, every player on that team selects the same team name, but it's just safe to leave it blank otherwise. If you ever get into a strange situation where everyone's like, hey, I can see everyone, it looks like they're on my side, but I can't target them, you probably left a team name in there from a previous game. Otherwise, you can pick from a drop-down list or enter any name you want. And finally, you can add in your very first ship by clicking the Add Ship button. So today we're going to actually close this out. because we'll come back to this. In the physical world, you now add a ship because you have a physical SSD in front of you, but it's easier to load the SSDs in first and then create ships while looking at the SSD. So let's close that out. Go to the Setup tab, and here it says SSDs, Upload SSD. Now, if you're in manual mode, that button is gone because you need to be in either lead or follow to upload SSDs to the database. So make sure you're in lead or follow, otherwise this button will not appear. If you want to know more about how to create the SSDs, please check out video number 6. I go into a lot more detail and kind of cover a lot of this stuff as well. So load SSDs as PNGs, which is portable network graphic. And they're on my desktop, virtual map stuff, SSDs. Now I'll be loading a pair in from Empire Directorate War. So the Magellan and the Reason. You can select as many SSDs as you want to load in at once. And they have been uploaded. If you go to the SSD tab, currently it's blank. I'm going to move these down to here so they're out of the way. We go to lower left corner where it says play. We can toggle that to edit, and we have active and blank. So we want to go to blank. Think of blank as being what you're copying out of an SSD book with a photocopier, or active as those sheets that are actively being used. So on blank, so first thing we want to do is go back to the list page and add in our first ship. Empire Director War is mode 1, so we select add ship with mode 1, enter a name. If you can't think of a name, you can just hit the button over here. I'll go through different names. We have a list of over 700. Ship class, this is a Reason. And hull ID can be any number you want. I usually go like 00, whatever. Crew rate is whatever the crew rate is for your ship. 6+ is average, 2+ is elite, 10+ is why are you guys even out here? Squad in position. This is basically for sorting your ships in the list. If you have lots of different ships, you can put them into one of 5 different squadrons, the flag squadrons or squadrons A through D, and then the position within the squadron. Typically use 1 through 4 for ships. If you have squadrons, like fighter squadrons, 5 through 10 are also available as well. They do not have to be uniquely numbered and positioned. It's just within the same squadron and position within the squadron, they'll be then sorted alphabetically. So the maneuver stats, so we just enter our pivot for this ship is right here, 3. This is why I load the SSDs first. Roll is 3. And move is 3. Oh, very simple ship. Position, if you go back to the map, you can position your ship on the map. There's a very simple trick to do. You click this box, it'll bring up the position calculator. You can either type in the hex we want it to be, or you just simply click on the map and it'll automatically fill in the hex number. You still have to give it an altitude, so you have the plus or minus sign, then go like +10, and you're good to go. Next up is speed, how fast it's going. Mode 1 ships can move really any initial speed. They're not limited by anything. We just give it a limit of 15 in here because if you're going faster than 15, you're not going to be sticking around the map too long. So typically somewhere between 4 and 8 is a good number. Then I'm going to start speed 4. Attitude, this is the initial orientation of your nose and top. Usually it's just a direction, not just the full attitude. Again, you can just rotate your AVID to match the map if you want. So I'm going to go initial direction of, let's go AF plus. Okay, so that's the position data. Next, we add in our profile numbers. So go back to the SSD. We have a profile of 1, 1, and 1. So that's easy to fill in. ECM, these ships do not use ECM, so you can skip this whole electronic warfare. Action points is the bridge size, and that's 3. Then we click next. Next we add in our box miniature. Where it says small, medium, large, we can ignore that. That's if you don't actually have a box miniature. You want a different size box on the map. Otherwise, we click load box mini image. I don't have a video how to make the boxes yet. But if you go to the askme.net website, there's a whole page dedicated to describing how to make these box miniatures, as well as the templates you need. So I'm going to pick the reason, and it's uploaded. So last step, I just click the green checkbox, and I have my ship. You can see it's loaded on out here, and we have our ship listed. Now the very, very last step you need to do is assign this ship to an SSD. If you just go play and you're like, hey, my ship's not assigned to an SSD, what's going on? That's because you haven't assigned it one yet. So go back to edit, blank, and then just click the name of the ship, add the current SSD sheet. Now pick the type of sheet you're adding this to. This is a 2-up sheet, there's 2 of them. And we're going to use the left-hand side. I find it most convenient to only have one ship per SSD. Otherwise, you're constantly scrolling back and forth or up and down. And if the name didn't get exactly where you want it, you can move it around a bit. If you assigned it to the wrong SSD, you have to erase the name of the ship from the SSD. Erase item, and it'll remove it from that SSD. So you just go add it again. Also, if you try adding it a second time, say to the right position, it goes, oh, we're already been assigned to an SSD. So you can't accidentally put the same ship onto multiple SSDs. So let's say I want a second reason. So I just click on the ship. I select clone. And all the information except for the ship name and hull ID have been pre-filled in. So I'll just give it a new name, Hurricane. Hull ID, I'll go 002. And I'll put this into the second position of the squadron. So in my list, it'll always be the second one in the list. And on the map, I'll just go right here. I'm at, what was that, plus 10? Click and click. There we have our Hurricane positioned. So we just need to add it to an SSD. So go to the SSD tab, make sure we're in edit mode. If we want to add it to its own separate sheet, we go back to blank and select reason. If we want to add to an existing sheet, we select active. Add to the current sheet, 2 up, right-hand side. So now it's over here on the right-hand side. Like I said, I prefer having each ship to be on its own sheet. So let's erase Hurricane from here. Go back to the blank page. Make sure there's Magellan and reason. Make sure I have the reason sheet selected. Add to current, 2 up, left position. So now I have 2 sheets, 1 Hurricane, 1 Galati. Okay, it'd be cool, man. Now, at the same time, your opponent could be setting up their ships as well on the other side. And you just hit the sync button to sync back and forth. Now, if you're an event host or someone setting up a game for everybody, I'll just rotate to the other side. And, yep, I love maneuvering in 3D sometimes. And set up the ships on this side as well. So the SSDs, go back to the blanks. We're now setting up a Magellan. So we go to Add Item, Mode 1, Random Name. Ooh, Harpy is a good one. Ship class is Magellan. Magellan. Hull ID E001. Next. This is also 3 for pivot, 3 for roll, and 3 for movement. Demo ships. Position. Go to the map. Open position. Select a hex. I'll leave this one level with the map, so no altitude, or +0. Speed, we'll start speed 6. Attitude, well, we have to rotate our AVID around again, because D is up. And so we want to say, let's go direction C. Profile, 1111. And 3 action points. Box miniature is a Magellan. And there I have a Magellan. Now let's say I just want to clone it. Give it a new name, put position 2, hull ID. Let's go E002. Position, we'll put it right there. And that's all it needs to clone a ship and put it out. Now add these to the SSDs. So first up is the Harpy. By the way, if you haven't noticed, if you are on the list page and click on your ship, it'll bring up the ship actions for that ship. So we need Magellan. We're on a blank page. 2 up sheet, left position. Go back to blank. There's our other unicorn. Add the current SSD. This is a blank sheet, so 2 up, left position. And now we have all of our ships assigned to an SSD and on the map. So we go to ARC's page. We can just cycle through. Down here we're still in edit mode. We switch to play mode. We can now cycle through. So unicorn. Oh, we put the unicorn on Magellan sheet. So we need to go fix that. So again, go to play, active. We have unicorn selected. Unicorn right here. It's on the wrong sheet. We just go erase the name and we remove it. We select blank. Make sure we have Magellan selected. Unicorn. Add 2 up, left. Okay. A unicorn is on the Magellan sheet. Okay, Hurricane, Harpy. Okay. Now there is a bug in the system you may have noticed. Not all the action points are updated. So you should go through and double check those. For some reason, the cloning function is not updating the action points. By the time you see this video, I'll probably will have fixed it, but if I haven't, just update those and then cycle through. Everything's a-okay. Now, if you're playing a game with another person, obviously they want either the Imperials or the Empire or the Directorate. I'll get the right setting. You want to disown, for example, the Magellans. Just click not owned by me, not owned by me. Hit sync, and they'll be sent out to the wide, wide world. And when someone joins the game, they can then select the Magellans, and everything will be happy. Well, that's it for how to set up a game. With a little bit of practice, it usually takes about 5 minutes to completely set up a game from scratch, depending on how many different types of ships and how well organized you are. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, please hit the subscribe button. I hope this has been useful. I'll catch you all later. Have a nice day.